Detective Hercule Poirot? Ah, Chief Commissioner. On the contrary, it is a most convenient time. The safe passage of a painting? Tell me everything. If man was meant to travel the oceans in such conditions, he would surely have been given his own fins. A distraction is what one needs. Where is that blasted contact? How is one to prepare for an assignment if one does not have all of the required information? Very well. I shall wait no longer.
Beautiful, isn't she?
Pardon, monsieur?
The open water. There really is nothing quite like her.
When one suffers from the mal de mer, the beauty, as you say, is rather more a burden.
Forgive me, I just can't imagine being scared of the ocean in this day and age. The potential to see the world is open to even the ordinary man like us.
I can assure you, monsieur, it is not a matter of being scared. And as for ordinary...
I didn't mean to offend, mister.
I am...
Forgive me, madame.
No harm done. Accidents happen. My cigarette case, where is it?
I didn't see.
You thought I wouldn't notice? A young lady traveling alone. An easy target for you, I bet.
I'm sure the young lady would appreciate the help of two handsome strangers.
Ah. Huh.
How could a porter be so clumsy? Let's give her a hand.
I didn't drop it on purpose.
Oh dear. What a mess.
The young lady should not be left to gather her own things. You are returning home?
I am. But how did you know that?
Besides your educated accent, the crest that adorns your cigarette case, it is of British origin.
Very observant. It's the crest of my family, and the case belonged to my mother. I take it everywhere with me. Miss Florence Farquhar, a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
The pleasure is ours.
That looks like everything. Except for my powder case.
Is this what you're looking for?
It is! Thank you, Miss...
Miss Babanin. Anastasia Babanin.
Anastasia. What a beautiful name.
It was my grandmother's.
Well, that's everything now. I can't thank you all enough for your help.
I'd be happy to escort you. Here, I'll take your bag.
Oh, yes. Okay, thank you. Cabin 4. I'll be right behind you. Anastasia, perhaps I can offer you a token of my gratitude in the bar later?
That would be lovely.
And you, Mr...
Detective Hercule Poirot, at your service.
A detective? I was not expecting to meet such a distinguished gentleman on board.
I did not expect to meet someone of Russian descent on a ship between the great city of Antwerp and Dover.
I never mentioned where I was from either.
One did not have to. Anastasia, of Russian origin meaning resurrection.
And here was me, thinking I was special.
Your knowledge of my heritage is most impressive.
And I'll take that as my cue to leave. Good evening.
It seems it's just us remaining.
I would very much like to hear stories from your homeland. Perhaps you would join me in the restaurant.
As charming as that would be, I'm feeling rather tired. It must be all the sea air.
Then I shall leave you to your slumber. Adieu. As much as I enjoyed the delights of the restaurant, I still found my mind drifting back to Mademoiselle Babagna. She really was quite charming. I have spent the first part of this excursion neglecting my duties. It's time to retrieve my notebook from the safe and begin. The combination was not a difficult one to remember. 1815, the Battle of Waterloo.
Huh.
Et voilà. Time to... One cannot ignore such a blood-curdling scream.
My mother's cigarette case! It's gone! How could somebody do this?
Mademoiselle, I ask that you take a moment to calm.
You're a detective, of course. What luck.
As luck would have it, one of Belgium's finest. Now, I require as many details of the crime as you can offer.
I came to my cabin and began unpacking. I couldn't get the safe working, but the gentleman that helped me with my luggage showed me how it works. Afterwards, I went for a brief walk, and when I returned, the safe was open, and my cigarette case was gone.
We must consider the suspect list. Those who were aware of the cigarette case's existence.
That can only be those who were up on the deck when my luggage spilled. Miss Babagnan, the porter, yourself.
And your helpful stranger.
Yes, of course.
I ask that you gather them for me. And while you are absent, I shall begin my investigation in here, if Mademoiselle permits.
Whatever you need to do to find it.
Aha. Aha. Hmm. Oh. Hmm. Oh. Huh. Oh.
Mademoiselle, I thought you would be returning with the gentleman also.
The gentleman wanted to speak to the porter alone first.
I was unaware he is also a detective.
He's not a policeman. He works in insurance, I believe.
It appears I shall be spending my time chasing amateur detectives around the ship.
Mademoiselle, I would like to start with who had access to the safe combination.
No one. It was in a sealed envelope that was waiting for me when I arrived. I memorized it and threw the paper overboard. 4385. It's really not that difficult to remember.
A similar envelope was waiting for me upon my arrival. The date of the Battle of Waterloo, as I recall. Every safe, although identical, must have a different combination.
After the gentleman helped me with the safe, he left.
If the mysterious gentleman is behind the theft, he went to great lengths to hide his fingerprints, but did little to hide his movements in Mademoiselle Farquhar's cabin. There are many questions that require answers, answers I believe he may hold. The answer was staring me in the face.
Mademoiselle Babagnan,
I'm sorry we must continue our conversation under these circumstances.
On the contrary, what fantastic luck that you are here. Now I get to see you. Packed and I was fast asleep on the bed.
Alone?
That is a rather personal question, don't you think, Detective? I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous.
Nervous. And then?
And then I was woken up by Florence.
Mademoiselle Farquhar, I shall have your cigarette case returned to you before we reach the English coast.
I hope so, Detective. I hope so, Detective. You caught me, reading my own article.
I must say you raise a very interesting point. Art should have no social boundaries. Creativity is for all to enjoy.
Thank you for saying that. I wish everyone was as open-minded. Yes, I'm really quite excited about it.
You have been invited to a preview at the Royal Edward Gallery. A small world indeed.
Will you be in attendance? It's actually one of the reasons that I have been in Belgium. I was lucky enough to have a sneak peek at some of the pieces on show. I'll also be writing a follow-up article on the success of it. Fingers crossed.
Lucky indeed. I am sure it will be a great success. Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now.
Aha. Aha.
Magnifique. A fingerprint. Now to determine who it belongs to.
You found one, Detective? Oh, how exciting! I suppose you'll want to take mine. To rule me out, I mean.
I'm sorry, but it's just not acceptable, Mark.
I've apologized to the lady.
And that makes everything all right?
It was an accident.
An accident that could have been avoided if you hadn't spent your morning drinking.
Gentlemen, you are behaving like two young boys in the schoolyard. It ends now. Is Mademoiselle Farquhar aware you are acting as her knight in shining armor?
I wouldn't go as far as that. I think perhaps we have got off on the wrong foot. I'm Arthur Hastings.
She requested you to follow her to her cabin, no?
Oh, yes, she did, but I wanted to...
Speak with the porter privately? This was part of your investigation?
Well, I'm not a detective. I was just,
Then perhaps you will answer some questions that are vital. You say the chances of proving a theft in a case such as this one are...
Well, a report from a detective like yourself will certainly help expedite her insurance claim.
As I thought. It had perhaps not crossed her mind before. But being amongst an officer of the law and an insurance man, the idea of insurance fraud may have appeared appealing.
When Florence, Miss Farquhar, told me that something had gone missing from her safe, I thought it must have been the porter.
How so?
I'd rather not say with him standing just there.
It is not I that controls the volume of your voice.
You must have noticed the smell of beer on his breath. I wouldn't put it past a man that drinks on the job to steal.
That is quite the accusation. And if you were correct, you wish to settle the matter with him privately?
I wanted to give him what for, but...
The mention of insurance initially sparked my attention. But the more he talks of his work, I believe he may be my mysterious contact from Lloyd's of London. It was your work that took you to Belgium?
I can't go into too many details, but I'm actually delivering a rather special piece of art to London. I'm meant to be meeting an official of some sorts that's supposed to be helping me, but no sign of them yet.
And it is confirmed. It concerns me that my supposed trusted colleague has found himself involved in the middle of my investigation. I will continue to withhold my true identity and see how Monsieur Hastings' involvement concludes.
Merci, monsieur.
This really is an exciting case. Anything I can do to help Miss Farquhar, please don't hesitate to ask.
Your enthusiasm has been noted. Perhaps you and I can have a more civilized discussion.
I'll tell you the same as I told your friend. I will not be bullied.
Intimidation is not my forte. What is uncovering the identity of criminals and making sure they are punished to the fullest extent of the law.
And that's me?
That is what I am yet to conclude.
Who said anything about drinking alcohol?
It does not take a detective to identify the distinct odor on one's breath.
Maybe one to calm my nerves. My sea legs aren't here yet, that's all. I was in the cargo hold, cutting something with my knife, and it slipped. No harm done.
I'm not quite sure you understand what that means.
So now I am stupid and a drunk?
Do you have the knife in question on your person now?
I don't. He stole it and won't return it.
What can I do for you?
Ah. Huh. Huh.
You could ask me anything. Am I to be used as your guinea pig?
I would not dare compare you to a guinea pig. Would you be so kind?
The answer is yes, of course. I have nothing to hide.
Logical thinking shall always prevail.
You could ask me anything.
You have been most help.
Of course. Whatever... Insured? Oh no, why would I have it insured?
Anything of substantial monetary value.
I'll stop you there, Detective. The cigarette case itself is hardly worth 2 pennies, but to me, it's priceless. Not for a second. At least not with my permission. You probably think this silly, naive woman has left her valuables out, or I've just misplaced them. But I assure you, that is not me.
It had not crossed my mind for even a moment.
Things are beginning to become clearer. One step closer to revealing the truth.
Of course. Whatever you need.
What a revelation!
I must consider the suspects I have in front of me. Monsieur Hastings. He is keen to impress Mademoiselle Farquhar and claims that he was alone in his cabin working since. Mark Allard, the porter. Evidence suggests a rather amateur attempt to break into the safe, which in his intoxicated state would make sense. But it was just a ruse. The safe was opened quite masterfully,
leaving only signs of a poorly attempted break-in. Mademoiselle Babagnan, a new friend to Mademoiselle Farquhar, who appeared at a most convenient time. I cannot see a motive besides the obvious value of the cigarette case, but Mademoiselle Farquhar has made it quite clear the value is of a sentimental nature. Perhaps the best thing for me would be to return to my cabin to think. I fear my legs, and perhaps even my evening meal, will not last much longer amidst these waves. Perhaps...
Ah, detective. How goes the investigation?
A good detective, better yet, a great detective, will find motive, means, and opportunity.
She found it! Miss Babagnan found it! Oh, thank heavens!
I was on my way to speak with the captain when I saw something shining underneath one of those pipes.
Strange that it was not spotted earlier by any one of us while on the ship's deck.
Maybe the thief was scared and dumped it for fear of being caught red-handed.
Miss Babagnan, Anastasia, you saved the day. I can't thank you enough.
And you, of course, detective.
I find Mademoiselle Babagnan's explanation of finding the cigarette case rather coincidental. But without any definitive proof, I cannot suggest anything otherwise. The cigarette case has been returned and the coast is in sight, which is what is important. Although, there still remains a part of me that craves the truth.
Hey.
I suppose you can chalk that up as a victory.
A victory for Mademoiselle Farquhar, but not in the eyes of the law.
Well, if anyone asks, I'll confirm what a splendid job you did.
Very kind, monsieur. While we are on the matter of truth, Monsieur Arthur Hastings, you are here to oversee the transportation of the penitent Magdalene painting, are you not?
How on earth?
You are aware of my employment, but not of my true identity. Detective Hercule Poirot.
Wait, are you the official that I was supposed to have met on board?
Oui, monsieur. Please, accept my apologies for keeping my true identity hidden. But I had to be sure your involvement with the theft was purely coincidental. When it comes to the nature of our work, trust must be earned.
A little unorthodox, but I suppose I understand. So you can trust me now?
It continues to grow.
Well, we have a couple of weeks before the gala, so hopefully by then you'll trust me with your life.
One can hope.
I don't think I'll ever stop being amazed seeing such incredible pieces up close. I don't think I'll ever stop being amazed seeing such incredible...
One would certainly hope not.
Oh.
What do you gentlemen think of this particular piece?
Can it really be?
To a layman, perhaps. I'm afraid it's a complete fake.
No. Such eloquent and delicate work.
Very observant. But that doesn't make it authentic. You know, even Michelangelo himself was an art forger in his early career. See if you can spot the telltale sign of a forgery.
Huh. Huh.
The craquelure is inconsistent across the painting. Surely a sign of a cheap imitation.
Very impressive, Detective. Unconvincing aging is one of the most common giveaways of a forgery, whether it be in the craquelure, the smells of chemicals used to artificially age the painting, pigments that haven't dulled with age. Sometimes it's as simple as the materials used just not existing at the time of painting. The trustees were quite excited by its arrival, but it didn't take me long to identify its faults.
Quite the detective yourself, Mademoiselle Warbeck.
Please, call me Evelyn.
If there's one thing I've learned in the short time I've spent with the detective here, formalities and politeness are essential.
They are a cornerstone of modern civilization and must be upheld.
This city could benefit from more gentlemen like yourself.
Now that the etiquette of our greetings has been decided, shall we finalize preparations?
I was hoping you'd say that. The exhibition area needs to be secured. I wonder if you would be able to lock the remaining doors for me? I'll lock the west wing door when I'm finished there. And if you could tie this ribbon around the handles of the main door for me, I'll leave it outside.
If securing the exhibition room is what Mademoiselle Warbeck requires, that is what shall be done.
Ah. Oh.
Miss Warbeck did ask you to make it look pretty.
One shall complete the task to the degree it is requested. Symmetry is the key, you see.
Oh yes, I see.
Everything is now ready for the arrival of the guests.
I assume you have the list of guests?
I am afraid not. It would usually be an essential part of my preparation.
In fact, it perturbs me that there is something I did not have time to prepare for.
Would you like me to find Miss Warbeck? There may still be some time to check the list. Look, there's Miss Farquhar. With Miss Babonnet.
Seems that they became fast friends after the incident on the ship. Intriguing.
Intriguing how?
Speculation, monsieur. Nothing more.
That head of yours is just constantly full of thoughts. Who's this?
I have no idea, but she's sure to turn heads with such a fetching dress.
I quite agree. And who is this dapper-looking gentleman?
Mon Dieu. Wait a minute. Is that... Well, I never! Poirot, you devil! Forgive me. What are my manners? Detective Poirot.
Goodness, Monsieur Demire. Poirot is more than adequate for an old friend.
He saves my family from near ruin, uncovers a murderous plan, and still has the modesty to not correct a buffoon like me.
Allow me to introduce myself.
Heavens, my manners appear to have been replaced by surprise and excitement. Forgive me. Monsieur Demire, this is Monsieur Arthur Hastings.
You've got yourself a partner now. Well, any friend of Poirot's is surely a friend of mine.
Monsieur Hastings has been kind enough to show me the sights of London. A more than adequate guide.
I would take that. It's as often as a blue moon you see Poirot handing out approvals like that.
And what is it you do, Mr. Demire?
A previous field medic, Monsieur Demire now finds himself working for...
With?
Pardon. With his brother, doing most honorable charitable work all across London.
Need I say more?
Could everyone gather together for a photograph, please? Would you all move a bit closer together for me, please?
I didn't realize we were going to be in the newspaper.
Is that a problem?
No, not at all. I just want the camera to get my best side.
Okay, if everyone is ready.
So, Poirot, what on earth are you doing here anyway?
My orders were to see to the safe travel of the centerpiece of the exhibition, the penitent Magdalene. Monsieur Hastings here travels with me, covering any administrations and insurance requirements.
Art protection? That's a bit beneath the great Hercule Poirot, isn't it? Especially protecting it from this lot.
Perhaps you would be so kind as to introduce us.
Ah, where's the fun in that? We have to make sure those... What's it you call them again?
You are referring to my little grays...
Little grey cells, yes! Ah, that's it. I've been playing a little game. I've been trying to find a painting to match each of the guests. At least the ones I'm acquainted with. I wonder, Poirot, do you think you can ascertain which paintings match which guests? Ah, I can give you a little info, but you'll need to make your own inquiries. Miss Irene Courtsmire. She's one you'll want to keep your eye on in the future art scene. Born and raised on a rather affluent estate, she turned her back on her parents in her teens to start a new life in London as an artist.
She's a very nice young lady.
Ah, really? Interested, are we?
I was only making a comment on her nature, nothing untoward, I can assure you.
Or as we are all meant to refer to him as, the Honorable Reverend Horace Mountjoy. He's a man of the church, I'm not sure what else there is to say. If you're wanting to keep the lectures to a minimum, I'd avoid admitting to anything that would even be considered a sin. Mortimer Aylesworth. If you've not heard of him, I'd get familiar with the name. Eton and Cambridge educated, he followed in his father's political footsteps and has already surpassed them. Johan Christiansen and his glamorous wife Betty Allen.
Betty Allen, the actress?
The very same. They've been here in London for a few years, although she still plays down her baldness for British society, even with her recently taking a new role in the theatre.
She did not take his name in marriage?
Allen is her maiden name. Works as her stage name too. A lot snappier than Christiansen.
And his employment?
He's a partner for a private bank in London. He has told me what he actually does many times before, and many times I forgot. You will no doubt already know our host, Evelyn Warbeck.
We have already made her acquaintance. Very pleasant, if not rather flustered by today's exhibition.
That's everyone. Well, there's Mr. Hastings here. I'm sure we shall get to know each other better. And our mystery woman.
Anastasia Babanin. We met briefly while traversing the channel.
Look at you, Poirot. Got a love interest of your own, huh?
Monsieur Demire, must I remind you of why I am here?
No. No need at all. I know you're strictly business. Let's see what you can do then. And come back to me when you know enough about the guests to solve my little mystery. So, have you any thoughts on my little mystery? So, have you any thought? So, have you any thoughts on my
Everything seems to be running smoothly. You've done a sterling job.
Everything except for the bishop and the other trustees, stooges.
It was never going to be easy going up against them. All men of a certain age, not used to the idea of change. But they didn't get their way this time. And with my exhibit coming up, this place will finally have a showing they can be proud of. And the quality the museum deserves.
Mademoiselle Court Smythe believes her upcoming exhibition will change the perspective of the trustees and the public. I get the feeling she enjoys the accolades and being the center of attention.
Detective Poirot, you're looking much happier being on solid land.
There was a moment when I thought that wretched sea would get the best of me.
Well, I'm certainly glad it didn't.
As am I. Please, do not allow me to disturb you, madame. Adieu.
Beautiful, isn't it? Not like the modern tripe Miss Warbeck insists on bringing into the museum. Oh, the Lord will not look fondly upon her choices.
I would hope one's choice of art would not affect one's chances for a better afterlife.
Let's hope not, for her sake.
Incredible, isn't it? And to think we are all located on that one small planet, revolving around an all-encompassing star. To think of all the suffering. I give what I can to charity, but what this country needs is someone willing to put the poor first.
I'm well aware of where we are. I just want to make sure I'm looking my best for the photographs.
And people call me the drama queen.
Aha. Ah. Oh. Aha. Huh. Aha. Oh.
It is a great pleasure to see you again, mademoiselle.
I've been looking forward to us bumping into one another. Thank you again for your help.
I must admit, I feel almost tormented that I was not able to uncover the identity of the thief.
All that matters is that it was found. If you'll excuse me, I really should get on. This article isn't going to write itself. I moan, but it's my love. My obsession, you could say.
How dare you! That might be something you say where you're from, but not here. Not to me.
What a waste of champagne.
I thought this was supposed to be a civilized event.
Are you all right, mademoiselle? I hope you did not spill any champagne on your gown.
Don't worry about me. It's only that wretched man that has got some cleaning up to do.
His suit and his mouth, by the sounds of it.
Do not allow this to ruin your day.
I have no intention of allowing such a thing. In fact, we have business to discuss.
It would be good to at least schedule a time that suits us both.
Monsieur Christiansen and Madame Hélène have returned.
You are to be the focus of Mademoiselle Farquhar's article.
Miss Court Smythe here is the next big name, and she has been kind enough to offer me an exclusive interview.
Madame Hélène has left via the exit, but Monsieur Christiansen has not gone with her.
Do not allow me to interrupt your work.
Ah, you've had more than enough time, detective. So, how did you get on?
If one is to discover the truth, one must proceed using the correct methods and cannot be rushed.
Why might they be like this particular piece? That's right! Although I shouldn't be surprised. Anyone else? Why might they be like this particular piece? That's right! Although I shouldn't be surprised. Anyone else? Why might they be like this particular... That's right! Although I shouldn't be surprised. Anyone else? Why might they be like this particular piece? That's right! Although I shouldn't be surprised. Anyone else? Why might they be like this particular piece? That's right! Although I shouldn't be surprised. Anyone else? Why might they be like this particular piece? That's right! Although I shouldn't be surprised. Anyone else? Why might they be like this particular piece? That's right! Although I shouldn't be surprised. That's everyone. Well done. I should have known it'd be no challenge for you.
I have faced many a more demanding challenge, but few quite so enjoyable.
Hi, is he okay? I think something's wrong with him.
I think he's having a heart attack. He seems stable. Now's the time to get him to the infirmary.
Oh, there's no need for that. I'm feeling much better already.
Wouldn't it be best to telephone for a real doctor?
Monsieur Demir was a field medic. What more of a professional is required?
A field medic? Really?
A field medic that has seen people in a lot worse states, who didn't have the luxury of a proper hospital.
Oh, I didn't mean to offend. I'm sorry. If I am being carted off, the unveiling must go on. I will not have this silly old man ruining the gala for everyone.
Thanks.
You drive a hard bargain, Monsieur Aylesworth.
I'd just like to say a few words.
I'm sure you would.
Thank you all for coming. Here at the Royal Edward Gallery, we are proud to present such wonderful works by some truly fantastic artists. And with much negotiation and pleading, we have been able to secure a most fabulous and individual piece. Standing here with you, unveiling today's centerpiece, the Penitent Magdalene, really is a special moment for both this museum and me personally. So, without further ado,
Oh my.
Am I missing something here?
Things just got interesting.
It was. It should be.
Is this some kind of joke? Evelyn, what's going on here? Oh, trust you to have no idea. You've really done it this time, girl.
She's done nothing. It's not her fault.
By the grace of God, it's somebody's fault.
I am quite sure Mademoiselle Warbeck is as surprised as us all. S'il vous plaît, everyone. Remain where you are. Please do not touch a thing. Monsieur Hastings, you saw me lock the door to the restoration room, oui?
Of course, I was by your side. I'm going to be in a lot of trouble for this.
You are not responsible for the painting's disappearance.
But who is?
Do not allow any of the guests to leave the main hall.
And what are you going to do?
What is required? One's job.
So, I don't really know what to say.
Monsieur Hastings, this theft may be a new and foreign concept to you. But to Detective Poirot, it is just another case waiting to be solved.
What do we do then?
We must get to work. If we can ascertain the thief's point of entry and exit, this may all be resolved momentarily.
Huh. Huh. Hmm. Ah. Mm-hmm. Ah. Oh. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius. Hot on the culprit's heels.
Gentlemen, I have called the police and they should arrive shortly. What can I do in the meantime?
Do you still hold the master key?
Of course. You are the only other person who has had access to it.
Très bien. Please keep it close. I believe the thief may be one of the guests here today.
Voilà.
Monsieur Hastings, I pose this question to you. If Mademoiselle Warbeck still has the master key,
is she not a suspect herself?
très bien.
Mademoiselle Warbeck is likely not our thief. The real thief did not care about the museum and what is hung on its walls.
At some time during this evening's festivities, the key was taken from her pocket and used in the restoration room door without her knowledge. If we find the pickpocket, we will uncover our painting thief. First, we must search the restoration room. Mesdames et messieurs, your attention please. I am Detective Hercule Poirot of the Belgian Police Force. I was charged with the safety of the penitent Magdalene painting on its voyage to London from Belgium. The missing painting has indeed cut the celebrations of the gala short, and so I consider my duty to be, as yet, incomplete. With your cooperation, I ask that you all remain within the building, and I intend to speak with you all individually.
If I was the thief, I would certainly be worried after a speech like that. I just wonder if... maybe I should let you do the questioning.
Monsieur Hastings, the painting's safe return also falls upon your shoulders.
I know, but I can make myself useful elsewhere, see what clues I can find.
Magnifique. Another success. I never doubted myself. The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
Madame Warbeck, a moment of your time, if you will.
I was rather busy, as you saw, especially with Irene and her disappearing act.
Disappearing act? An artist and a magician. She is a woman of many talents.
She was nowhere to be found. Is that better? She was supposed to help me organize everything. Then I saw her throwing her glass of champagne at Mrs. Allen's husband. I was hoping to speak with her after, but I didn't see her again until she was calling down from the balcony following Mr. Aylesworth's collapse. Mr. Christensen, Betty Allen's husband. After the theft, on my way to telephone the police, he was looking for something in the West Wing.
Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now. Bonsoir, Your Excellency.
I should be addressed as Your Grace.
Pardon. I did not mean to offend, Your Grace. It's just that in Belgium...
It is quite all right. None of us can choose where we're born. Now, what can I do for you? If I must... I was talking with Mr. Aylesworth for a time. Some strange opinions, that one.
Would you care to elaborate?
You were not present for that conversation, and I hardly think it appropriate to involve you now. Although, I will say, he was rather keen to see the orrery from the balcony. He left, and I spoke briefly to that actress, but she wandered off looking for her husband. Up the main stairs, I think it was. Who would have thought the reveal of the missing painting would cause a man to take such a turn?
Perhaps a warning to us all that such a scare could come at any time.
Are you trying to say that is what's going to happen to me?
Your Grace has misinterpreted my meaning. But on the matter of where you were at the time...
Then maybe you should think before you speak. And I was talking with a young Russian girl.
Merci, Your Grace. Bonsoir, Mademoiselle Babagnan.
Please, Detective. Surely we are past those formalities.
What you may consider a formality, I consider etiquette.
Well, I had the pleasure of meeting the other guests. I feel so fortunate just to be invited myself.
Modesty is the color of virtue. Now, mademoiselle, you were saying...
Oh, yes. We all gathered for that delightful photograph. Then I spent some time looking at all the wonderful art. I did notice the actress and the politician returned to the main hall together.
And the other guests?
I saw Bishop Mountjoy and the politician, oh forgive me, I forget his name, leave towards the east wing together. It was much earlier in the night, well before that.
You have been as enchanting as always. Mademoiselle, if you have a moment, I wish to ask you some questions.
Look around you, Detective. Out of the ordinary is the ordinary here.
Regarding the guests of the gala, you had the opportunity to speak with them all?
I met that delightful Farquhar girl, the art critic. With any luck, her article will finally give me the respect I deserve.
Your talk on the balcony went well, I presume.
Well, indeed. We weren't up there for long before the poor politician was struck down. What luck for there to be a doctor at the scene. And for us to have a detective here, too. Before I wasted a perfectly good glass of champagne on that man, you mean?
That is certainly one way to tell the story.
I'd hardly call him trying to push himself upon me as a story.
With his wife in the same room?
You think a man with that much arrogance cares? Women are nothing more than objects to him. One day he'll learn his lesson.
Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now. Bonsoir, mademoiselle.
It seems trouble follows you, Detective.
So it would appear. And the faster I am able to ask my questions, the faster this trouble will be resolved.
I saw Betty leave the main hall and head for the West Wing after the whole champagne debacle. What do you think that was all about?
It is not my job to speculate on such private matters. It is to uncover the location of the missing painting and who is responsible.
If there is someone who can, it's you, Detective.
Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now. Bonsoir, Monsieur Christiansen.
Detective, what a mess you have on your hands.
That is certainly one way to describe it. Perhaps you can begin to help me to clear up this mess.
I was with Betty most of the evening. She wasn't feeling herself. I'm glad I didn't leave and miss out on all of this. Don't tell me you don't get a little thrill when a new case appears.
I do not think about such thrills, Monsieur Christensen. Only justice.
All business, no pleasure, I see. I remember seeing the priest.
The bishop?
Yes, him. He came down the stairs just before Mr. Aylesworth recovered. Maybe a man of the church was all he needed. Oh, you saw that?
I believe every soul in the museum did, or at least heard the commotion.
So I look like the bad guy, hmm? That's what you get for standing up to a bully, I suppose.
A bully?
She made some pretty awful comments about Betty and her career. And I wasn't just going to stand by and let her say whatever she wanted. You should lock her up for what she did to me. She's unhinged. Are you married, Detective Poirot?
I am not.
Then heed my warning. If your wife, whenever she comes along, wants to be left alone, you leave her alone.
Merci, monsieur. I thought I would make myself useful, and I think I found some things of note.
Bon, I shall go and retrieve them now. You were wise to not touch them and contaminate any evidence.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I did only move them to the West Wing.
Fantastique.
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
The answer was staring me in the face. Voila.
Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius.
Aha. Ah. Ah. Aha. Oh. Mm-hmm. Huh.
If it'll help retrieve the painting. Of course. I have the key.
Mademoiselle, the key?
I'm sorry. You said it yourself. I think I should just hold on to it.
I was not expecting Mademoiselle Warbeck's hesitation.
Mademoiselle Warbeck, I really must insist on access to the restoration room. I find your reluctance to oblige a little troubling, mademoiselle.
Now listen. I am the curator of this museum, and I...
Miss Warbeck, will you let the man in? I, for one, would like to get to the bottom of this tonight.
Please, Evelyn. Let's not drag this on all night.
Evelyn Warbeck?
That's me?
Detective Inspector Hardwick. I was told a painting's been half-inched.
Yes, it's...
Stolen. Detective Hercule Poirot of the Belgian police, seconded by the Musée Royal des Beaux-Arts de Belgique and Lloyd's of London, to escort the penitent Magdalene here. How do you do, Detective Inspector Hardwick?
Well, thank you for that introduction, Mr. Poirot, but we won't be needing your help this evening.
But you see, not only do I have a considerable personal stake in this matter, I also possess undoubtedly the finest investigatory mind in all of Belgium.
I'm sure Belgium thinks you're the bee's knees, but we'll be just fine and dandy.
I must insist, Inspector.
Bloody hell! I don't have time for this. Will someone try and get through to this man before he does my head in?
Dear Mr. Poirot, I know you meant well, but perhaps now is not the time to push the inspector's buttons.
Très bien. Monsieur Hastings, the fate of the penitent Magdalene lies in our hands.
And Miss Warbeck's career, by the sound of it.
Then we shall waste no time. We have spoken with a number of the guests from the gala, but there still remains those who are absent. They may be able to offer a clue as to the thief's identity.
Then let's go and find them.
Poirot, over here. I heard about the painting. Trouble just seems to follow you. If there's anything I can do to help.
I am looking for Madame Hélène. Would you know where I could find her?
If she's not on stage already or rehearsing, she'll be in her dressing room. That alleyway will take you to the back door.
Oh, this isn't quite what I was expecting from a famous star like Betty Allen.
A famous star that is not on stage, nor in her dressing room.
You don't think something could have happened to her?
Combining the state of the room and her being absent, I fear something sinister may indeed be afoot.
Huh. Huh. Hmm. Oh. Huh. Hmm. Ah. Oh. Aha. Aha. Huh. Another success. I never doubted myself. Things are beginning to become clearer. What a revelation. The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
What do you need? What can I do for you?
The fact that there are valuable items remaining in the safe leads specifically. Something that they knew would be present in the safe. Meaning they had previous knowledge of the contents of Madame Hélène's safe. In effect, they must know Madame Hélène herself.
What do you need? What can I do? Why, Mrs. Allen?
Madame Hélène was behind the mess that lies before us. Filled with rage, she...
What do you think you're doing in here? Security!
Pardon, Madame Hélène. I do not wish to cause any alarm. I am Detective Poirot. You will recall from the gala.
Yeah, I remember you. Doesn't give you the right to be snooping in here.
Snooping, no. Waiting patiently, oui.
You can wait outside. I'll talk to you there. Well, go on then, shoot.
Madame Hélène. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Look, let's just get on with this, shall we?
I promise not to take up too much of your valuable time.
Well, thanks to Johann walking off, I got stuck talking, a term I use loosely, with Mr. Aylesworth and the all-important bishop, as he likes to consider himself.
Where did your husband go?
Beats me. But when I saw him next, he was being attacked by that crazy artist. You must have seen it.
I did, and while I do not condone such behavior...
If you are going to defend that woman's actions against my husband, I'll stop you there. Not really any of your business, is it?
I would not forgive myself if something improper had happened and I had not addressed it.
You've got nothing to worry about. I'm an emotional woman. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? I thought it was best to just get myself out of there. He may have bitten his tongue, but if I'd got my hands on her...
Your husband mentioned you were feeling under the weather, no?
Me? No.
Ah, je vois. May I also ask about the snuff box that was found?
I've heard the Brits like that stuff. Not for me, though. Sorry.
You have been most helpful.
I told you last time you made a mess of things that if anything else was to happen,
So, you are blaming me for the painting going missing? I have poured my heart and my soul into...
Pardon. Perhaps this is a conversation that should be had behind closed doors.
This conversation will happen where and when I want it to.
What Detective Poirot means is maybe somewhere a little less public would be a better place to have it.
I am well aware of what your foreign friend was implying, and I shall give you exactly the same answer.
Let us not say anything that one would later regret. A moment to breathe for everyone, perhaps.
You do as much breathing as you want, as long as you find that painting.
Mademoiselle, may I request a minute of your time?
What can I do for...
Can you not see that we're busy?
Your Grace, there are matters we really must discuss.
You do understand my time is valuable, don't you?
Merci, Your Grace.
I don't think you quite understand the severity of the situation, Detective Inspector.
I'm well aware, and I'll conduct my investigation how I see fit.
That just isn't good enough. How would you feel if... who am I kidding? You could never afford something like that.
I can assure you Detective Inspector Hardwick and his men will be doing all they can to find your missing painting.
Now you have some officer from another country entirely fighting your battles for you?
I speak on behalf of no one but myself, monsieur.
And I didn't ask you. Hardwick, get it found.
Right you are.
Will you allow some officer a moment of your time?
I'm a very busy man.
And then I shall keep my question short.
I'd say the heart attack was the most memorable part of the day.
Quite understandable. But before that?
I was talking to the bishop, or rather being talked at. He doesn't see it, but he gets quite heated. That's the last thing I remember. I did. That man just wants someone to listen to his incessant ramblings. I just couldn't stand there and listen to him anymore. I decided to walk away and see the orrery from above. Then I met that young lady, Betty Allen.
You two spoke?
Briefly, but she was looking for her husband, so I think her mind was elsewhere.
I will not take up any more of your time.
If you want to deal with him, fine by me.
Hello? Who's that?
Bonjour, madame.
You're not English. Where are you from? What are you doing here?
Madame, I am Detective Hercule Poirot of the Kingdom of Belgium's police force.
So what?
I was hoping to speak with a neighbor of yours. Mademoiselle...
She's not in. Are you waiting for her?
Do you know how long she...
You can give her this. And tell her I did what I could with it.
I will be sure to do that. Adieu, madame.
Huh. Oh.
I hope you're getting something out of wasting my time. Heated? Who said that?
They are the words of Monsieur Ellsworth.
Oh, the man is in politics. He should know what heated looks like. Maybe I was a little forceful. There was no one else around. How was I to know he was having a heart attack when he clutched his chest? It could have been anything. And when I saw he was in trouble, I went to get help. I suppose I got lost finding my way back.
I do not believe Bishop Mountjoy was the instigator of Monsieur Ellsworth's heart attack, but it appears he does. He is quite rigorously trying to convince himself he is not to blame.
Merci, Your Grace.
What can I do for you? He knows just how to push. He knows what this museum means to me.
That is clear to us all.
He thinks he can say and do what he wants because of his position. But if he thinks he can get rid of me that easily... This museum is my life. And if anyone, including him, tries to do anything to jeopardize that, I won't be held responsible for my actions. I'm sorry. The detective inspector was quite adamant I wasn't to allow anyone in.
Detective Hercule Poirot is not just any man, mademoiselle.
And modest to boot. I suppose it can't hurt. Follow me. There you go.
The key. It is in a far better condition than yesterday.
It was looking grubby and covered in rust, so I cleaned it. Is that a problem?
If you find anything else that may be of importance to the investigation, I ask that you leave it as you found it.
Ah. Huh. Huh. Aha. Aha.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Hmm. Oh. Ah. Huh. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. Ah. One step closer to revealing the truth.
Magnifique. I must take a different approach if I am to... Hot on the culprit's heels.
When the thief entered this room from the west wing, there was no paint on the key. We know this because there was no paint on the key when they used it on the door to the gallery. But there is paint on the key when the thief locks the west wing door after stealing the painting, telling us...
The key got covered in paint in this room.
Oui. And only after the painting was stolen. So... what happened in between locking the door to the gallery and leaving this room to lock the west wing door? The picture is becoming clearer, and the paint is the key. The thief unlocked the door from the west wing into this room, unlocked the door to the gallery, and stole the painting. They then returned, whereupon they laid the painting on the desk. The thief locked the door and returned to the painting. But then... an accident. They dropped the key into the palette of paint.
How can you be so sure?
We know because the paint palette was the only source of blue paint in the room that the key could have dropped in.
But why put the painting on this table, where items may be knocked or where they may be heard? Perhaps the answer is before me on the desk.
Ah. Oh. Huh. Uh-huh. Hmm.
What do you need? What can I do for you? What can I do for you?
Merci, monsieur.
Oh. Huh. Hmm.
Gentlemen, have you seen Miss Babanian? She wanted to speak with me after the bishop was finished chewing my ear off, but it seems the pair of them have disappeared.
I'm afraid not.
Can't have been that important then.
Huh. Hmm.
You're just full of questions, aren't you? Where did you get that?
It was found in a vent at the museum. Perhaps the very last thing I expected to find.
Yes. Well, thank you. I knew I had lost it somewhere.
A clearly valuable ring has just been returned to Madame, and she acts as though it means nothing to her.
And I would not describe throwing a ring at one's husband, resulting in it being stuck in a vent, as a case of losing it.
It is clear Madame Hélène felt no sickness at the gala, rather anger. In a moment of rage, she threw her ring at her husband before exiting the museum.
and having seen the damage that she has caused in her own dressing room, one can conclude that it was the state of her marriage that allowed her emotions to get the better of her and act so rashly.
You have been most helpful.
The detective inspector will now be able to see as plain as day that Mademoiselle Court Smythe is the guilty party. Now to find him.
With the other remaining guests' movements all accounted for, she was the only one capable of making haste with the painting.
Ah, Detective, you're here.
Look and you shall find. How may I be of assistance?
Oh, well, I've had the photographs from the Garda developed.
That's good thinking, Miss Farquhar.
Oui, very kind, mademoiselle. There is nothing left for us to do but to take our findings to Detective Inspector Hardwick.
Do you think he'll listen?
It is his duty as a high-ranking officer of the law. We shall not be ignored. We have done all but arrest Mademoiselle Court Smythe for him. If it is the accolade that he desires, he may have it.
I was thinking that while you were speaking with Miss Court Smythe, I could try and find Mr. Christensen at their home.
It would certainly be more efficient. An excellent idea.
Him, with a funny accent. He was here earlier asking the same questions. All I want is a bit of peace.
I'm terribly sorry for the inconvenience.
Monsieur Hastings, your assistance is required immediately.
Good Lord, Poirot, that's a lot of smoke.
And now you are up to speed with the situation. I have evaluated the position we find.
If you're going to use the fire extinguisher, now would be the time.
Très bien.
That's it. One more should do it.
Detective Inspector, it is imperative we search the crime scene as soon as possible.
You mean my crime scene?
If I may, I can count on one hand how many crime scenes I have seen in my life, and although they are somewhere I don't wish to spend too much time, as the representative of Lloyd's of London Bank, it is my responsibility to handle all matters regarding the now stolen painting.
A weak attempt, but I've got more on my plate than dealing with some paper pusher getting his knickers in a twist. You've got until I return to do whatever it is you need to do.
You may question my authority in this case, but I will not have my professionalism questioned.
Whatever you say.
Aha. Mhm. Ah. Aha. Oh. Huh. Hmm. Ah. Huh. Aha. Huh. Oh. Hmm. Aha. Ah. Huh. Oh. Huh. Aha. Mhm. Oh. Hmm. Huh.
From analyzing the victim's body, I can conclude that the cause of death was not dead by the flames.
Not by the flames? Then what?
That is what we are yet to determine.
Ah. Ah. Oh. Hmm.
Didn't you speak with her neighbor before? Might she be able to help?
Is it that copper again? What do you want?
I was hoping to ask you some questions regarding the fire. May I ask your name?
You aren't coming in. You can get that into your head now. Mrs. Colsham. Camilla Colsham.
Merci, Madame Colsham.
She hardly had any visitors, but yesterday it was like she had a sign up offering out free ale.
If you would be so kind as to talk us through the events as you remember them.
Well, I saw her leaving with a couple of paintings under her arm. You've seen her work? Not really my cup of tea. Then there was that posh-looking chap. I heard him before I saw him. Like an elephant on those stairs. Next came the professional-looking fella. He's got some money in those pockets, that's for sure. I saw him leaving with a painting, too. Oh, and the argument with another man? I couldn't hear what it was all about, but he had a set of lungs on him.
You are doing a wonderful job, Madame Colsham.
You can keep the patronizing tone to yourself. She must have turned her radio up to disguise what they were saying, but I tell you this, I'd rather have listened to them than that racket. It wasn't long before he was storming down the stairs. I don't think he'd heard the expression light-footed before.
Would you be able to remember any other details of the gentleman?
Through this people, you can barely tell who's man and woman. I didn't hear her leave, but when I heard that door downstairs slam, I knew it was her. I opened my door and gave her what for. And you know what she did? She waved me off, bottle of bubbles in hand, ranting about being dry. She looked 2 sheets to the wind, if you ask me. Only after did she turn the radio down. I wasn't going to waste the peace and quiet, and I got ready for bed. I was getting right into the exciting bit of my book. Perkins' first one, you know. I do like Perkins. Well, that's when I first smelt the smoke coming from the hall. And then you lot showed up.
Merci, madame. You have been most accommodating.
Oh, and I found this in the garden. It's obviously hers. I was going to put it through her letterbox, but, well, you know.
The cork from a champagne bottle. It would not be a giant leap to assume this came from Mademoiselle Courtsmith's apartment. A smell lingers on the cork. Bitter almonds.
Merci, Madame Colsham. Monsieur Hastings, your assistance is required.
Of course. What do you need? What can I do for you?
From analyzing the victim's body, I can conclude that the cause of death was not dead by the flames.
Not by the flames? Then what?
That is what we are yet to determine.
What can I do for you? Mr. Poirot, you are a genius. What can I do for you? That would never have even occurred to me. I've got a lot to learn. What can I do for you?
Let us get back to the scene.
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction. Logical thinking shall always prevail. Hot on the culprit's heels. Magnifique. One step closer to revealing the truth.
What do you need? What can I do for you? That would never have even occurred to me. I've got a lot to learn. What can I do for you?
Let us get back to the scene. From analyzing the victim's body, I can conclude that the cause of death was not dead by the flames.
Not by the flames? Then what?
That is what we are yet to determine.
Huh.
from analyzing the victim.
Not by the...
That is...
Mm-hmm.
What do you need? Almonds? I've never had champagne that tasted of almonds.
One would hope not. Mademoiselle's lips may hold the missing clue we require.
Of course, the painting. Irene had made forgeries of the penitent Magdalene painting and was likely selling them for a pretty penny, I might add. It wasn't an accident. It was set on purpose, using turpentine to douse any evidence of them being there, and the forgery.
An almost perfect execution, had we not arrived in time before the evidence had burned away.
But why try and get rid of the necklace?
Spoken like a true detective. Let us get back to the scene.
What a revelation!
What do you need? I don't know if I'm cut out for this.
Take your time. Consider what we have seen and learnt of Mademoiselle Courtsmith's time here yesterday.
Okay, firstly, we know that she had a number of visitors and an argument with one of them. Among these visitors, one left with a painting, perhaps another forgery.
Très bien.
Irene wasn't drinking alone, and whoever she was drinking with likely poisoned her. The killer used a syringe to inject a liquid form of the poison through the cork and into the bottle.
Potassium cyanide. Traces of the compound can be found in nature, but dangerous levels, such as those present, can be detected by its notable almond smell.
And she fell victim shortly after in her chair. What are you going to tell him?
The truth. He may hope for a simple and somewhat convenient version of events, but he cannot ignore the facts that we shall present.
My crime scene still intact?
Of course, Detective Inspector. There is something that...
There's nothing more to say.
Pardon, Detective Inspector. The truth is that Mademoiselle Irene Courtsmith was murdered.
Right you are. I'll be sure to make a note.
But you won't.
Excuse me? Are you forgetting who you're talking to?
He is well aware of your authority and your capability of coming to the same conclusion. We only wish to inform you of our findings.
Well, my men have been in, as have I, and I've concluded that the mademoiselle, as you so elegantly called her, made off with the painting and decided to have a few drinks to celebrate. She passed out drunk in the chair, candle still lit, and the place went up like a match.
Detective Inspector, s'il vous plaît. It is really not that simple.
Who are you calling simple?
He's not calling you simple, he's saying that isn't how it happened. How can you ignore the bottle of champagne that had been tampered with? The smell of poison on the cork.
You're both experts in poison now, are you?
I do not wish to stand here and argue credentials. Mademoiselle Court Smythe was killed, not by the fire that burnt through her home, but at the hands of another. Her drink, laced with potassium cyanide.
Quite the imagination you two have.
Look, we can show.
No. We shall leave the Detective Inspector to discover the truth for himself. Detective, adieu. Monsieur Hastings, you must learn which battles are worth the fight. Besides, we have no time to stand squabbling with him. We have a murder to solve.
That was quite a night. I feel exhilarated, yet exhausted. Triumphant at what we have discovered, but mournful for Miss Court Smythe.
It is being able to control those emotions and still see the bigger picture that separates the best detectives from those that merely like the thought of such responsibility.
So do you think it must have been one of the guests at the gala?
An accomplice disguised as a guest turned murderer. A master criminal they may appear to be, but they have never crossed paths with Belgium's greatest detective.
I think I just felt a chill.
Now we must speak with the guests of the gala again, as well as find Monsieur Christiansen, who has continued to evade my questions. I have no doubt one or more of them will hold the answers we require regarding the death of Mademoiselle Court Smythe. Mademoiselle, do you have a moment to spare?
Of course, Detective. I'm hoping you have some good news for me. Goodness. You've found the painting, haven't you?
A painting was recovered. A forgery, but it was damaged by the fire.
What on earth are you talking about? Forgery? Fire?
It ran rampant through Mademoiselle Court Smythe's apartment.
She's dead. She would never be so. But with all of those flammable paints and... No!
Mademoiselle Warbeck appears quite distraught at the news. Perhaps I should have considered the nature in which it was delivered.
I respected her as an artist and a friend.
I do not wish to push Mademoiselle Warbeck too far while in such a state. But as a friend, I must know if she was aware of Mademoiselle Court Smythe's plan.
Perhaps, as a friend, she let slip of her plans.
Her plan for what? Stealing the painting? Making a forgery? Do you really think I'd let her do that?
She must have had help from someone she trusted.
If she did, it wasn't me she confided in. I've been here trying to calm down the trustees.
You did not leave the museum?
I was here until the early hours. After the meeting, I wrote a letter to my father. I wanted his advice on what to do. It's just all so... Excuse me, gentlemen. I must go and make a phone call to an artist. I shan't be long.
Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now.
Oh. Huh. Aha.
Monsieur Aylesworth.
Ah, a detective that actually seems to be doing something to find my painting. What can I do for you? Quite well, thank you.
The infirmary discharged you already?
With a clean bill of health. I didn't want to wait around using up valuable resources.
An honorable gesture.
I was straight off to the House of Commons. I take it you haven't read today's newspaper?
I'm afraid I have had more pressing matters.
It certainly makes for an interesting read.
I was not aware reporters were permitted inside the house.
They aren't. I left and went to the London Illustrated News office. I gave my statement there. I can't for the life of me remember the chap's name. Rather pleasant, though. Anyway, you're a busy man. I'd hate to take up too much of your time.
It does not take a great detective to pick up on Monsieur Aylesworth's ever so subtle hint.
Is this about the insurance claim? It was merely a necessary precaution. I'm sure with you on the case, it won't be long before it's returned.
I do not doubt my abilities to return the painting, but I question why he felt it necessary to talk of sensitive details regarding the investigation to a national news outlet. It would not surprise me to learn of him using his loss for cynical gain.
I assume you saw the article in the paper?
Oui, monsieur. A fantastic opportunity for you to express your political opinions.
Oh, the people must know what I stand for. I'm here for them.
I will not take up any more of your time.
Bartholomew! Here, puss, 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 puss. Where are you? Bartholomew! Enough now! Out you come! I'm sorry, I just don't have time to talk now. I have to find Bartholomew.
Have you placed a missing persons report?
Really, Detective? Bartholomew is the church cat. I think a missing persons report might be a little overboard.
I am sure with our assistance we shall find him in half the time. And then, perhaps you will have time to answer my questions.
Fine. All that matters now is that we find him. His name is Bartholomew, and I'd appreciate it if you spoke of him as such.
Pardon. When did you last see Bartholomew?
Better. Well, you see, the poor creature took an interest in my easel. He leapt up, knocking over some of my supplies, and gave himself a fright. He bolted out of sight, and I've not seen him since.
Merci, Your Grace.
Aha. Oh. Huh. Aha. Aha.
Oh, I didn't think I could make it any clearer. Our priority is to find Bartholomew. Yes, Thomas, one of my parishioners, would usually have sorted that for me, but he decided this weekend of all weekends was the best time to holiday to Margate.
Where did you say the glass was broken?
The easel. I was painting, and Bartholomew was obviously in a boisterous mood and knocked over the water jar.
Merci, Your Grace.
Another success. I never doubted myself.
Voila.
The answer was staring me in the face. Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius. I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
Monsieur Hastings, your assistance is required.
Of course. What do you need? What can I do for you? That would never have even occurred to me. I've got a lot to learn.
I question whether the bishop's version of events is accurate. Perhaps he threw the glass jar at Bartholomew because he was on the altar.
I know that's how it looks, but I can't imagine someone being so cruel. What tells us where the cat ran to next? Poirot, you are a genius. How can we know where the cat ran to next? Poirot, you are a genius.
Huh. Ah.
Bonjour, madame. Do you have a moment to... Has something happened?
You bet something's happened! That slime bag! How dare he say my performance was mediocre!
I'm sure he didn't mean...
That's it! I give up. I'm done with this acting. With this city.
Take a deep breath. One man's opinion, and a wrong one at that, is not powerful enough to topple a career like yours.
You're right. Let him think what he wants. I'm sorry. I'm an actress. It's my prerogative to be a little overdramatic.
Very impressive, Monsieur Hastings. A position in negotiations would suit you well.
Is there something I can help you both with? You do know what I do, don't you? I was on stage, performing in front of a packed house.
I did not mean to.
Zach. He was there. You two seemed pretty friendly. He'll tell you. So will that Russian lady from the gala. She was with him.
Monsieur Demir and Mademoiselle Babagne. Together. Très bien.
Oh, he's already seen it. I told him he didn't have to come.
A supportive husband indeed.
Yeah, real supportive. Your guess is as good as mine.
It is most important that I speak with him.
Then you've got a missing painting and a missing husband on your hands because I haven't seen him. Look, I don't think I can take much more today.
Mademoiselle Court Smythe was found murdered last night.
Okay.
I thought perhaps the news would be a little more jarring.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I don't really want to hear about anyone dying, but me and her... Well, there's no love lost.
Madame Allen's nonchalant response has certainly caught me off guard.
You have been most helpful.
What do you need? What can I do for you?
Merci, monsieur.
What do you need? That sounds rather ominous.
I would not ask you to do something I would not consider doing myself. Only on this occasion, it is I that must execute the other part of the plan.
What do you need me to do?
Madame Hélène, you must hold her attention while I take the opportunity to look around.
I certainly can. I'll appeal to her love of attention. Mrs. Allen, that photograph there, is that really you on a live film set?
Gentlemen, what can I do for you?
I was hoping to speak with Mademoiselle Farquhar.
I'm afraid she already has her hands full with the story. Unless you've come with a bigger one than what she's working on. Perhaps another time, gentlemen. We really are very busy. Perhaps another time, gentlemen. We really are very busy. Perhaps another time. Let's not be so hasty. That could be just what we need.
Gentlemen, what can I do for you?
This is your office. It's very impressive.
Mademoiselle, would you have time to answer some questions?
I don't really have time right now. Perhaps we can schedule...
I assure you I shall remain focused and my questions relevant.
Fine. Make it fast. Is she all right?
I'm afraid not.
Heavens. How awful. Did she have any close relatives?
I do not believe so. And her parents have both passed also. She was the last remaining Court Smythe.
A question I did not expect. Although at least she is showing some form of compassion for Mademoiselle Court Smythe's family, or lack thereof.
I only met her recently in a professional capacity. What are they going to do with her exhibit?
I cannot say, but they may not be as forthcoming with her work now.
I'm sorry, Detective. I don't understand.
Mademoiselle Court Smythe was behind the painting's disappearance, and a forgery was discovered in her apartment.
So she stole the original and made a forgery? What heavens for?
That we are still yet to learn.
Am I a suspect?
We are just trying to gather all the information. Isn't that right, Poirot?
Oui, that is correct.
I'm sorry. It's just a lot to take in at once. I was working late into the evening yesterday. I had to get my article on the gala written. And the photographs, they had to be developed. There was probably someone still around in the office if you wanted to check. I'm sure you want to have every I dotted and T crossed. Really? I must have been so busy not to notice him. At least you can be sure of where I was.
Was there anyone else present in the office?
If Mr. Aylesworth was there, Nathaniel, my editor, must have been.
It strikes me as rather strange that Mademoiselle does not recall seeing such an important figure in the office. But not everyone can be as observant as I. I shall speak with the editor, as he will be able to confirm the presence of both in the office.
Merci, mademoiselle. That is all for now.
What can I do for you, Detective? Well, Detective, this is a surprise.
A surprise, monsieur?
I wasn't expecting to be on the receiving end of an interrogation. I had nothing to do with the fire or her death.
You are aware of Mademoiselle Court Smythe's demise?
There isn't much in this city I don't know about. And for your little notepad, or wherever you're storing the facts, that report... Farquhar, she was in the office and can confirm I was there.
It appears that Monsieur Aylesworth is more preoccupied with proving his innocence than showing any compassion for Mademoiselle Court Smythe herself.
I will not take up any more of your time.
Voila. Your Grace, now that Bartholomew has been found, would you...
As my way of thanks, I'll answer your questions. Very well. Get on with it. I hope that comes from an inquisitive nature rather than a place of accusation. I was at a museum trustees meeting, trying to finally make a decision on that girl.
You mean Mademoiselle Warwick?
Who else? She's running that museum into the ground.
And following the meeting?
I returned to the church to prepare for Compline prayers, although I don't think I was alone.
You don't think?
I got the feeling that someone had followed me from the museum. I never saw them, but I know what I felt. None. I knew her merely by reputation, and a questionable one at that. Do you want to tell me what all these questions are about?
Mademoiselle Court-Smythe was murdered last night.
If you plan on being the bearer of such news, perhaps you should think of going about it with a little more civility. How did the young girl die?
There was a fire in her apartment, although it wasn't the flames that took her life, but poison.
Arson and poisoning. Oh, what is this world coming to?
Bishop Mountjoy claims he barely knew Mademoiselle Court-Smythe, but still showed a level of empathy I was not expecting. Perhaps I judged his blunt facade too quickly.
Found it? Really? Oh, heavens be! The Lord has shown his will once more.
I can only assume his delayed excitement came from being off guard. Unfortunately, I must turn his elation into disappointment.
If your Grace would allow me to finish. A forgery of it was found in Mademoiselle Court-Smythe's apartment, but it was destroyed in the fire.
She was the thief all along? Well, that just... A forgery? You mean she made a copy of it?
It appears that way.
I will rightly light a candle for her soul this evening. But that will not give her absolution from what she faces, kneeling before our Lord.
Ah.
What do you need? What can I do? It looks like she was telling the truth after all.
About composing the letter, oui. But we cannot confirm where it was penned.
What's all this other stuff? I don't think it's from the letter to her father.
It seems we have stumbled across the names and addresses for the guests of the gala, although they are not all legible. We have gathered all the information we can from the guests at the gala. All except
Betty's husband, Mr. Christensen.
Oui. We are now in possession of his address, where he is no doubt hiding like a frightened young boy avoiding his headmaster's ruler.
Voila. And just like that, the address of Monsieur Christiansen's apartment.
Remind me why we've lied our way into a man's apartment while he's not here?
Monsieur Christiansen was accused of harassing a young lady who has now been murdered, and he has not been seen since, even by his wife. Does that not strike you as peculiar?
Do you really think he could be capable of murder?
I believe everyone is capable, under the right circumstances. And right now, I believe Monsieur Christiansen is in that position. While we have no suspect to question, let us use our time wisely and search for clues. Leave no stone unturned.